The sky is wrong. That's the first thing you notice. It's 3 in the afternoon, but the light has turned a sick shade of copper, then brown, then black. Chickens are going to roost, confused, thinking night has come early. You stand in your yard, hand shielding your eyes, watching a wall of dirt taller than any building you've ever seen roll across the plains toward your home. It moves like a living thing, boiling and churning, swallowing the horizon whole. Somewhere behind you, your mother is screaming your name. You don't move. You can't. The wall of dust is almost here, and in seconds it will swallow you too. This is the Great Plains of the United States in the 1930s, stretching across parts of Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Colorado, and New Mexico. For decades, farmers had plowed up the native grasses that once held the soil in place, planting wheat during years of good rain and high prices. But the grassroots that had anchored this land for thousands of years were gone. When a brutal drought hit in 1931 and refused to leave, the soil had nothing left to hold it together. Combined with punishing winds and the economic collapse of the Great Depression, the region became a disaster zone. Massive dust storms called black blizzards began rolling across the plains, burying farms, choking livestock, and driving families to the edge of survival. The people who lived through this catastrophe were real, but the story you're about to experience follows one family who never existed. Their name, their farm, their faces, all invented. But everything around them, the drought, the dust, the desperation, the government programs, the roads west, all of it happened exactly as history recorded it. Meet the Hendersons of Cimarron County, Oklahoma. Your name is Etta. You wake before dawn most mornings to the sound of your father coughing in the next room, a dry rattle that never seems to leave his chest anymore. The dust gets into everything, your lungs, your bed sheets, the biscuits your mother tries to bake. You used to complain about chores. Now you'd give anything for an ordinary day of them. Your father, Walter, planted wheat on this land the way his father taught him, back when the rain came regular and the grass held the dirt down like a green blanket. Now the fields are bare, plowed bone dry, waiting for wind to carry them away one handful at a time. Your little brother, Tommy, wears a wet cloth over his nose and mouth just to walk to the outhouse. Your mother keeps a damp sheet nailed over the windows, but the dust finds its way in anyway, settling on the supper table like a second tablecloth. At night, you dream of rain, real rain, the kind that used to flood the creek behind the barn. You dream of green. Your father talks sometimes in a low voice to your mother about California, about cousins who wrote saying there's work picking oranges, that the sky out there is still blue. You don't want to leave the only home you've known, but you're starting to understand that home might not be a choice anymore. It's April 14th, 1935. Later, people will call it Black Sunday. The morning starts strangely calm, almost pretty. Blue sky after weeks of grit. Your mother lets you play outside for the first time in days. Then, just after 3 o'clock, you see it. Walter sees it too, and his face goes pale in a way you've never seen. A churning black wall stretches across the entire horizon, higher than any cloud, swallowing sunlight as it comes. Birds scream and scatter. Rabbits and coyotes run together, no longer predator and prey, just creatures fleeing the same death. Your mother's voice cracks as she screams your name from the porch. You run. The static electricity in the air is so strong that metal fence posts spark blue, and touching a doorknob after the storm can knock a grown man down. You reach the house seconds before the wall hits, and your father slams the door as the world outside goes completely black. Noon turned to midnight. Dust seeps through every crack, every keyhole, every space between the boards. You can't see your own hand in front of your face. Tommy is crying. Your mother presses wet rags over all your faces and holds you both against her chest. Outside, the storm rages for hours, stripping paint from cars, burying fence lines, suffocating cattle that couldn't find shelter in time. This single storm carries an estimated 300 million tons of topsoil, soil that took centuries to form, torn from the earth and flung as far as the Atlantic Ocean. Your hands shake as you hold the wet cloth to Tommy's face, feeling his small body tremble against yours in the choking dark. You hear your father's breathing turn ragged, then wet, then wheezing, a sound that terrifies you more than the storm itself. Your mother's grip on your shoulder tightens until it hurts, but you don't pull away. Hours pass like this, crouched together on the kitchen floor, unable to see, barely able to breathe, waiting for a darkness that refuses to lift. When a thin gray light finally creeps back through the window cracks, you realize you've been crying without knowing it, tears cutting clean lines through the dust caked on your cheeks. Your father doesn't get up right away. For one long, terrible moment, you're not sure he's going to. He does get up, weak but alive. That night, by lamplight, you overhear your parents talking in low, exhausted voices. There's no arguing left in them, only agreement. The wheat is gone. The topsoil that made this land worth farming is scattered across 3 states. Within the month, your family packs what fits into your father's old truck and joins the stream of families heading west on Route 66, part of a mass migration that will forever be remembered by a name history gives to people like you, Okies. Etta and her family are invented, but their journey mirrors what happened to roughly 2.5 million real people who left the Plain States during the 1930s. Black Sunday itself was a documented event, one of the worst dust storms in American history, and it directly inspired a young journalist to coin a term still used today, Dust Bowl. Franklin Roosevelt's government responded with programs like the Soil Conservation Service, teaching farmers to plant trees as windbreaks and rotate crops to protect the land. Many displaced families ended up in California, often facing hostility and poverty in migrant labor camps, a struggle immortalized in Steinbeck's fiction and in Dorothea Lange's famous Great Depression photo, The Migrant Mother. The Dust Bowl remains one of the worst man-made ecological disasters in American history, a grim lesson in what happens when land is pushed past its limits. It reshaped American agriculture, leading to soil conservation practices still used today, and it reshaped the country's cultural memory, giving America enduring images of resilience amid hardship. The migration it triggered changed the demographics of California permanently, and the storms themselves remain a warning about the fragile relationship between human ambition and the land beneath our feet. If you had been standing in that yard as the Black Wall approached, would you have run for shelter or stayed to watch history come rolling toward you? Let me know your thoughts, and if you enjoy these types of fictional stories. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.